It's like a baby's toy.
I'm totally Batman.
Oh, man.
Shh. Communing with the earth spirits.
Welcome to California, bud.
Cowabunga.
And after that, I just sort of space out for about an hour.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. This week, we're talking about our comfort movies, TV shows, music, all that good stuff. This is your host, Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey, guys, it's Prague.
We didn't just start this podcast over 4 times so you can be bored. This is Alexander Wolfgang. How's it going, fellas?
I don't know what you're talking about. That was our first try, and we nailed it.
Maybe if you stick around to the end, I might leave a little Easter egg back there, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But stick around to the end, then you'll find out.
We're still shaking off the cobwebs. We had a big summer break. So.
Big summer break. I'm over summer, dude. I'm over it. I'm ready for fall. I want to have a fireplace. I want to kick back, baby. Ooh, I want to get nice and cozy on the couch. Put on a little podcast in my ear pods and just zone, brother.
Cozy like ASMR. Exactly.
Hello. Welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. Is that
who was the Secondary Heroes ASMR podcast out there?
Do I put the pen to my teeth?
Yeah, pen to your teeth, all that kind of stuff. Like tap your nails on things. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Trevor, what are we doing here today?
I don't know. I'm just letting it ride.
Nice. I mean, for me, ASMR is not comforting, but I know for a lot of people it is. But we're not here for that. We're here to kind of talk about us. I know that we have been around for 4 or 5 years now, maybe longer. And there might be some people out there that either stepped away for a few years, or maybe this is your first time watching us, and we want you to get to know us better, I guess. So that's what we're here to do today, is talk about kind of our comfort entertainment.
Help you identify with each of us. It's kind of like we just talked about Ninja Turtles, and they all have their own distinct personality. It's like, oh, I really like Donatello, or I like Michelangelo. This is that kind of case where see which person's interests you kind of align with, like, oh, they go and watch this, or they listen to that, or they play this, and that kind of lines up with my interests too.
There you go. That's what this is.
Well, and not even just that. Yeah, this is also just like a for us, this is a easy way to get back into doing all this stuff, because like we said, we're shaking cobwebs off, man. We're getting back into this. We're trying to figure it out again. We got to feel the rhythm. Ooh, he's spritzing. He's spritzing over there.
Dusting, dusting off the microphone, everything. It's been a while.
There you go.
So.
Yes, it does.
Anyways, well, maybe before we dive into this, Alex, you tell us, everybody at home, where to find us.
Oh, you want me to go into socials? Okay.
Yeah, let's kick it off.
We're going to go into socials a little early. Usually we go around like 15 minutes in. We're going early. So with the rest of the show,
reintroducing us.
Exactly. All us reintroducing. Hello, everybody. We are the Secondary Heroes. You can follow us over on Twitter, Instagram. Twitter. It's not Twitter anymore, is it? It's called X. You can follow us at X.
Don't care.
Don't care either. It's called Twitter to me. Because we're 3 old men that... it's always going to be Twitter.
An older guy made the decision, so
that's
fine.
What a ding dong. I don't care either way. So follow us over on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Go over to YouTube and watch the videos because they're a lot more fun. I always have a fun vintage movie on my vintage TV on a vintage VHS and all that stuff. So you can watch that a lot. Watch along. Last week I had classic Ninja Turtles playing. Anyways, this week I've got E.T. Comfort, baby. This is comfort. Anyways, watch us over. If you're watching over on YouTube, please like and subscribe because it helps more people see us. The more likes we get, hey, the more people are going to realize that we are worth listening to. Maybe. Hey, that'd be pretty cool. And if you listen on your Apple iPhone, please rate and review our preferably 5 stars, rate and review the podcast. That also helps. Don't 1-star Prague. I get it. You're on the show. You don't like us that much. Whatever. Yeah, if I keep going, we'll get to 15 minutes just on me talking like this. Anyways, so just remember, all this is free for you and is priceless to us. I forgot to mention Cross the Streams Network. You can find everything over on Cross the Streams Network as well. They're done. Free for you, priceless to us.
Cool.
Well done.
Again, everyone, this is hopefully like a soft reboot where it's like, what do you guys do? And so this is what we do. We talk about movies and TV, but that opinion, that interest, it's formed somewhere. You know, what is the pop culture entities that define our future excitement for different things or reviews of different things? It's all based on what we grew up with and what we come back to.
Exactly.
And
And Alex, I
usually
think, found a
mosquitoes.
mouse down below.
There's a mosquito flying by my feet.
Oh, there's always a mosquito. So welcome to the Secondary Heroes, where Alex hits and swats mosquitoes.
Guest
for
star
the entirety of the
mosquitoes.
hour.
I've already gotten bit 3 times since. I hope I got it. I really
Just
do.
move out of the Southern California. It'd be all good.
I left
saying.
Florida for a reason, and yet here we are, Mosquito City. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna talk about our favorite, or not favorite. I wouldn't even call this favorites. This isn't
Right.
like our
It's
favorite.
a little bit more than favorite. It's more just comfort.
Comfort.
It's
So we're talking
what-
movies, TV, albums,
Yeah.
video games, stuff that we like to return to when, let's just say, I'm having a down day. This is the type of stuff I'm going to return to.
Or fall is coming up, and sometimes in the fall you just like to be cozy. You know, watch something that's
Exactly.
familiar, not something
Exactly.
that's new.
I love it.
So,
Oh,
There you
I'm
go.
so excited.
so I think maybe a good starting point would be films, because I'm seeing E.T. behind your shoulder there, Alex. And
Ooh,
I think for
is
a
that a
lot of
comfort
us,
for you?
Spielberg films are a comfort for sure, and BT is definitely one of them. I love seeing Dee Wallace's face as the mother. It's a fantastic scene that we have behind you there, where he gets to meet E.T. for the first time. But yeah, that would be a comfort movie, right? That's a good example of a film that I would put on that I've had probably not the longest on VHS, that and Wizard of Oz. So I say we start with movies. What do you
I would
think?
agree. And, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump on the ET thing. We don't watch ET in my house just because my wife thinks that ET is absolutely creepy. So
Sure, a lot of people do. Yeah.
a lot of people, and I didn't realize this. I thought ET was an everyday. Like,
It's a new thing,
everybody
right? The
loved him.
internet kind of brings everybody out that you never knew existed, and
So
suddenly
bizarre.
everybody thinks ET is gross looking. Whatever.
But ET is fantastic. I mean, the music, the score alone. Oh my God, I just want to melt into it. I love the score of ET. It's fantastic. But that's not quite my comfort movie. But should we? I'm guessing let's dive in. We're diving
Let's
into
do it,
comfort
yeah.
movies.
Well, what would you say is something that you would turn on a rainy day that kind of just makes you feel good?
No joke. You guys will never guess any of mine.
Let me think. No. I have
Okay.
no idea.
No.
I'm
Go
way
ahead. No, and don't get me wrong. Yeah, Back to the Future is definitely a great film. I love Back to the Future, the full trilogy, but it's not my comfort film. It's not something that I return to if I'm feeling down or if it's a rainy day. Or if I just want to go to bed. It's not my return to movie. I've got
Weird.
3, but
Okay.
so the 3: Sleepless in Seattle,
Oh.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
You've Got
Never would
Mail,
have guessed that. Okay.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
and When Harry Met Sally. Those are the 3 that, like, if Netflix
Very
doesn't
similar
have,
films. Okay.
dude,
I think they're all the same film.
they're all the same.
Same
Allowed myself to put 3 in there because I intertwined those. Like, You've Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle is practically the same movie. But these
It
are
really
movies
is. Yeah.
that, no
Same
joke,
actor, yeah.
if it's raining outside and I'm laying in bed and I'm sick or something, dude, I'm gonna put on some Sleepless in Seattle. If I can't get to sleep at night, baby, you better believe You've Got Mail. If I'm feeling a little depressed, maybe a little Harry Met Sally. So yeah, man,
And those
those
are
are my
three great movies. I enjoy them. for
It's
sure.
comfort, baby. It's, you've got the dynamic. I don't know what it is. There's something special about those movies that just keep me coming back.
Yeah, they're kind of fun romance kind of movies and funny,
And I don't
Tom
need to
Hanks is
think.
great.
Yeah,
Young Tom Hanks. Yeah.
young Tom Hanks. I don't need to think about anything. It's something where
True.
you throw it on, and I don't mind it being in the background. Like,
Okay.
it's not, I have to focus. Like, most movies, I'm focused from start to finish because I want to know I don't want to miss anything.
Sure, like there's a big scene, right? Like, oh my god, I love this scene, I have to watch it, or
Right.
whatever. Sure.
But there really is no scene like that in any of these movies. It's just, you just
Fun to
let
watch,
it
right?
roll,
Something
baby.
comforting. Okay.
Something comforting. Throw
I like
on
that. That's a good start, Alex. That's a
fire
good
on-
start.
Thank you, Prague.
May
That
not be
made
your
me feel
favorite
good.
movie, but it might be something just kind of like it just makes you happy. It's like, you know what? It's been kind of a bummer week. Nothing's really hitting. Let's put this on. What the
That's
heck,
how this is
right?
this is our leap off moment where now you understand kind of where we're going with this episode. We're talking comfort, baby. I hope you're cozy right now listening.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm trying to be cozy because it's kind of warm here in Northern California.
I've got my air conditioning on. I should turn that off.
I'm trying my best here, but I'm pretty cozy after that last heat wave. But I do like how you put it. And for me, whenever I talk about my comfort films, it's something I do think about a lot because every time I'm in a mood, I'm like, I know my go-tos, and they're usually music based, which is interesting. Not in terms of the like overall soundtrack, but like the individual songs in them and stuff. So for me, my go-to has always been Almost Famous. It's just such a good, like wholesome, fun movie that I just put on. And you know what? If a scene comes on that I like, sure, I'll pay attention. But it's not like, oh my god, it's this scene. It's just great the whole way through. I don't have to think about it too much. It's just this simple kind of road trip of this, kid idolizing this band and writing about them and having lots of fun and singing the songs, and you have Elton John stuff, and it's great. But they're all kind of music themes, I think, like that one. And the other one is School of Rock. I watched that movie so much. It's just like you said, you don't have to think about it. You just put it on the background. It's like background music, and you have the jokes, and it's fun. And it's funny, and it's just so simple. It's just so lighthearted and kind of wholesome in a way. So yeah, that's always been kind of my two go-tos. I'm sure I have more that I'll think of, but those are the two that I always put on if I'm just kind of in a funk. It's like nothing else is working. Put those on.
Almost Famous. I love that. There's a good portion of that movie that was filmed here in San Diego, and it's down at the sports arena where it was filmed, and I work a lot at the sports arena, so every time I go down a certain ramp, they shot a lot at this one ramp in San Diego, and every time I go down the ramp, I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling like Almost Famous.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's fun.
Anyways, yeah, dude, great. Those are good choices, man.
Yeah, it's fun music. What about you, Trevor?
This was an interesting topic. This is not my type of thing.
I was gonna say, don't rewatch anything, man.
That's true, right? This is new territory for
it's really interesting to think about because it's just a different perspective. Like I can totally understand where you're coming from. It's just not something I'm necessarily inclined to, and so I wanted to think of it in a different way. And so over the past year, at the start on January 1st, Michelle and I decided to just come up with 52 movies where I come up with 26, she comes up with 26. And then we'd pick a playing card. So that way we don't have to, we were like, oh, what movie should we watch? And that was the whole thing. So now it's just we pick a card, whatever movie that is, that's what movie we're watching. And so it made me think of movies I'd want to share watching with Michelle, like movies that I like, but I want to watch it with her. So it's like a different experience. And so I feel like that's really had me come back to certain movies that I can recite the dialogue. And it's a lot of movies that my dad's the type of person who can watch the same movie a whole bunch. And so when he's watching it, when you're growing up, that's a movie that is on the TV. So you're just going to watch it. And so I feel like Men in Black is the movie that I can probably recite the most of. And that's just a movie that I can always put on and will enjoy it. And so that's
I would not have guessed that.
Nope, would never have guessed it.
Cool.
And then the other one is probably, I don't know if it's a comfort movie, but the John Wick movies are just hilariously fun to watch.
I was waiting for something even worse. I'm like, not really a comfort movie.
Oh, I love rewatching The Babadook. It's one of those movies I can always return to.
That kid screaming in the backseat, fantastic stuff. Just comforts me.
But there's just a comfort of kind of, especially the first John Wick, where it's just like laughing about how many people he actually does end up killing, where it's just it's just like a stupid amount. But there's just a lot of movies throughout this year if like I don't want to list to or go too deep, but movies like Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one, Mamma
Yeah,
Mia,
that's a good one. Yeah.
which is completely
Another music
different,
one, right?
sidetracked.
Right.
Yeah, the music ones. To your point, I mean Shrek. The soundtrack in Shrek is outstanding, and we
Nothing
just
like a
watched
little
that
Smash
last
Mouth.
night. Smash Mouth is good stuff for that nostalgia, man.
Too. I was like, do we go see Smash Mouth?
But yeah, it's all that same kind of time period, like 1995 to 2005. Those movies in that range. It's just that you put any kind of like action adventure movie in that time period. You know, Pirates, The Mummy, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
The
those are all
Mummy's
kind
Men
of
in
fun,
Black. Yeah.
comfort
Independence
kind of
Day,
movies. Yeah,
all that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Independence Day for sure.
Well, since we've been talking about all this music and stuff, and music in movies, let's jump into albums. Do you guys have like a band that you continuously return to, or like an album that just you can listen to from start to finish, never skip a song or anything like that? I know that we live in a totally different world now where you can't really do that anymore because you throw on Pandora or Spotify and it just randomly chooses a bunch
now.
of it's a bunch of different playlists. But what do you guys have on your list for this stuff?
So when I was thinking about music, my first thought was that like I listened to playlists. I just put on whatever's streaming, and nowadays it's mostly just like synthwave, vaporwave type stuff. That's just kind of in the background. Like I don't like. I think what you had said earlier, Alex, about the movies, like where you're not paying attention to them. It's the same thing with music that's comforting. It's like it's stuff that I don't necessarily am like, oh, I love this riff or this part or this lyric or whatever. Like those are the movies, right, or the albums that I'll sit there and intently listen to. Those aren't what I would call a comfort music. And I really do think that nowadays my comfort music are those kind of more ambient background type pieces.
And maybe that's with age too, because I'm the same way.
I think I'm not as like I don't have that youthful need to rebel or whatever. You find reasons to listen to certain music, or the hype or whatever it is, or the idol worship. Now it's just like I just want something to kind of like drown out the background noise so I can focus on work or whatever, video games, whatever you're doing. So when Stranger Things came out, like I loved that sound that those guys did with the soundtrack. I'm like, well, I want more of that. So that's why I sought out stuff like synthwave and vaporwave, which for me is kind of like my comfort music now. I don't really have an album unless you want to consider the Stranger Things album one, which is something that I do put on from time to time. But yeah, for me, it's synthwave. It's going to Spotify or YouTube or something and just putting on a random playlist that goes on for a while.
Now, you mentioned before the show, before we hit record, that you listened to the Turtles album.
Yeah,
how like
I did that today.
Isn't that pretty synthwavy? I know that we talked about it.
Industrial
last week,
synthwave. I mean, it's Trent Reznor, so it's very
Oh my god, 9 Inch
Nails.
Nails. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep.
That's probably why we all liked it very much.
Yeah.
So same thing. Fantastic. So if you haven't
Funny.
out there, look that up. It's a great
Yeah.
soundtrack.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, dude, I'm the same way. Trevor, did you want to go next?
I mean, everything that Prague said, it was pretty spot on. Like, I don't listen to albums. I'm the type of person who just adds songs to my different playlists, and playlists evolve over time. But the playlist that I'm going back to, I have one, it's called Work Tunes, and it's just instrumental versions of various songs, whether they're movie soundtrack songs or pop culture songs, like from my favorite artists. I just love the instrumental versions where people do piano or violin or very saxophone. Like there's all kinds of different just instrumental versions of songs.
Yeah.
And just, it's a really great playlist I can get lost in and just block out work or working around the house and just having it on speakers. It's just a nice way to kind of just have music in your life. It's also good for driving on long trips where it kind of makes your trip feel like a movie when it's just instrumental. Where it's this is that sequence where you're just kind of just zoning out and
you're flooring it at 120 on the freeway, like
So also lo-fi video games music, like we're gonna get to video games, but
I was gonna say that too.
Lo-fi video game music, it puts me right into that sequence in my life where I'm playing that video game. Like whether it's like Mario 64 and it's like I can remember that playing 8 years old. I can picture the levels as the music's going, and any kind of just of that nostalgia where it does, like the lyrics, it's a different type of mood. For the cozy comfort thing, it's the zoning out where it's just the tunes kind of take you to the past, and it's just this whole nostalgia thing.
And there is some of that crossover with synthwave too. You get some of those like MIDI sounds and little 8-bit
Like
kind
Zelda.
of noises and stuff. Yeah, it's like there are some Zelda theme remixes on my
just
synthwave
classic.
soundtrack.
It's just the way. I don't know if it is an age thing. Like I feel like people at my work have a similar kind of vibe and stuff they listen to.
But it makes the workday go a little bit better if you're sitting there listening to something like that, where you do feel like, you know, anytime that lo-fi Zelda song comes on, I just, for some reason, I get pumped, dude. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. This is what I'm looking for. I love stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
right,
so,
Alex, your turn.
Yeah, I'll jump in. But so I completely agree with both of you guys. Right now in my life, yeah, if I'm working, that's what I'm listening to. I'm listening to exactly that, because that just, I mean, it's comforting. It's nice. It feels cozy. It like that. We listen to a lot of like records and albums and stuff. I want to have like an album record of lo-fi sounds and ambient music and stuff like that. Like I know that they make them. I know there's record stores that have them, but that's something that I want to have in my house. But I do have an album that it is something that I return to a lot. It is something that I revisit because it makes me feel good. And I love every lyric to every song. It's one of these albums that I just don't skip anything. It's Jimmy Eat World's Chase the Light. That album, Big Casino. I mean, it everything about that album, I just get so hyped. And I think that's one of the things that I got locked up on earlier in the episode was it all depends on your mood. It all depends on where you're at in your day or your life.
That's a good point, actually.
Because this stuff all
there are
changes.
times where it won't be the same. Right. It won't be the same in the morning as it is at night or in the middle of the day, even like if I want to be hyped up. Like if I'm done with work, like I'm not gonna listen to something relaxing. I'm gonna put something that's gonna pump me up, right? Like you're done with the day finally, or
it's Friday. You're about to have a
sleep.
Yeah, you're gonna have a monster weekend, dude. You need to put something pumping on.
So I want to say recently the album that I've been putting on that's kind of like background comfort stuff at the end of like a Friday or something is a album called Communion by Septic Flesh, which you guys probably haven't heard of. But it's a metal band, but it's bombastic and loud and awesome. Oh, if you think their name is cool, you should look up their music videos. They're messed up. It's fantastic.
Oh my god!
But it's epic. It's just like epic stuff about like ripping flesh and stuff. And
oh wow,
great.
Prague.
Just think of like the halls of gods with blood flowing and just angels dying and crying and screaming, and it's just so beautiful. So
Prague,
beautiful.
It sounds like you need Sleepless in Seattle way more than I do.
No, I've seen that movie enough. I'm good. I like Meg Ryan and all, but that's enough.
Get some You Got Mail in your life, brother. Wow, that's heavy duty.
It's good stuff though. It's bombastic and it makes you want to tear through people with like knives and things and destroy worlds. It's fantastic, man. It pumps me up, and it's just I don't have to sit there and pay attention to the lyrics or anything. I just kind of have it on. I feel good. It's like, oh yeah, everything's right with the world because everyone will be dead and it'd be great.
Wow, Prague, settle down. Here, let me jump back into this. Hey, okay, so I don't know much about Spotify. If someone creates a playlist on Spotify, can anybody find it? Is it something that can be found by anybody and anybody can listen to this playlist? Is that
if you make it shareable to the public?
If you make it shareable, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because
I listen to a lot of other people's playlists all the time.
Okay, cool. I'm hoping that this is a public. I believe it is. I'm not sure, but there is a public. It has to be public. There is a playlist on Spotify made by my good buddy Jimmy. Good buddy, best friend Jimmy, whoever. I don't know if I should say his full name.
More than you,
whatever.
But yeah.
Okay. Dude, he made me a playlist, and by the way, this playlist
I'll write this down. What is it?
Amazing.
What's it called?
So he named it. Oh, it is a public playlist. I'm looking at it now. It's a public
okay.
playlist. There's 700 songs on it,
Wow,
and
that's impressive.
it's called Teetsy. Tietzy. It's my last name with a Y in there. Teetsy. 700 songs, and no joke, it goes from some wild and crazy stuff to some extremely beautiful, just insanely good music. It's like all over the place. It's stuff that I would never even think about. But he's got, I mean, from all the way from Jurassic 5 to synthwave, all over the map, and it's just so good. So I want everybody to go out there and listen to this playlist, because it's very good, and you'll definitely
Listen
get
to
a
the
kick.
Teetsy.
Listen
All right.
to Teetsy on Spotify. That's right, Tietzy, and that's made by my good buddy Jimmy Weber. Weber.
Jimmy.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Check it out. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, definitely do it, because that's another comfort thing. When I'm just trying to work and just kind of like zone in. Actually, it's not good for whenever I want to zone in, because I'll listen to it and I'll be like, "Oh my god, this song is really good. What is this?" And I get totally distracted, and then I'm like, "Now I gotta look at what the song is and who that artist is." Then I go deeper and I listen to the whole album of that artist. But anyways, it's so good. It really is fantastic.
Well, that could
Okay,
be comforting in its own right, you know.
absolutely, yeah.
It's
All right,
I
let's
like
get
that.
out of music. Let's move on to TV shows. What kind of TV is comforting to us? Trevor, why don't you go first on this one?
This is gonna be interesting.
Yeah,
TV
right.
is extremely tough, because that's even more of a time investment than a movie. And not only that, it's
Things have changed a lot.
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with
last
TV is that it's a lot of storytelling. That the biggest part is that it's like a reveal. At least those are the TV shows
Nowadays
I'm
it is,
not
right?
talking about TV
Right.
shows, but it's like when you know that's going to happen, it's not as comforting. And so this was a tough one to think of. And I think there's only 4 shows ever that I've ever rewatched at all. And none are comforting at all in the slightest. So
Okay.
the first show is BoJack Horseman, which
Okay.
I think I've watched it 3 times at this point, and
Wow, impressive,
it's-
Trevor.
it's a show that is hilarious to me, but it's because it's dark humor, so it's not the most comforting aspect. And then the other show is Rick and Morty, which also is a lot of dark humor, and it's not the most comforting thing. You could argue that BoJack and Rick are very similar in their dispositions towards existence. And the other one would be Lost, where I only watched the first 2 seasons multiple times, and then I kind of just tune out. But those first 2 seasons are outstanding. And that's more of just, I want to watch something outstanding. And then the 4th one is Dark, which sits in that same aspect of an
Every
outstanding show.
bingo card. Bring out your bingo card.
Had to get
That's
it
right.
in. If we're
there's
going
bingo
to.
cards.
So yeah, it's an interesting dynamic of dark humor and just outstanding quality. So I'm trying to think, like, I know what you guys are going to say because we've talked about it in the past, and I just don't have a show like that.
No, that's fair. I mean, we know that you don't really rewatch stuff anyway, so that makes
Right.
sense. But I do think it's different because now with streaming, it feels like there's so much going on all the time. You're always trying to watch new shows or catch up, and sometimes I'll watch like a first season of a show and forget about it. Like I just kind of dwindle off because there's so many other new shows. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I started that one show. Where did I start? Like, when did I stop? Whatever.
Oh my god, I've got
So I
so many
think-
shows like that. Oh, yeah.
And it sucks, right? Like, and then you get, but then I get like frustrated. And I just go back to a comfort show. So my comfort show for the last like year has been Shameless. It's just been my comfort show. Like it was a show that I've always loved. I love the original UK version as well, which is another show that I watched multiple times over and over again. I just love those characters. Like maybe that's it. Maybe it's the characters. Because other than sitcoms, I would say Shameless would be the one I would be that's the most comforting to me, which is weird because it's like the most dysfunctional family ever, like in human history.
Yeah, but at the same time, they always
very
come
dark humor,
together,
too.
and it's very
But they always come
family
together,
oriented.
of course.
It's always
Exactly.
very family oriented. No matter what's going on, they always have each other's back, and there's something comforting about that. and
Because
knowing
it's more
that the
real,
family-
right? Like,
yeah.
you know, not everyone has like a perfect family. Like most people
Right.
don't. You know, even the ones that say they do, it's like, no, things happen. You know, you're stuck living together, you know, for so many years, you're bound to have issues. So yeah, it's just been something that's been kind of nice to go back to. I'm like, well, it's comforting. I know these characters. I know what they're gonna do. I kind of know the vibe of that show. So that's kind of been like a comfort show lately. The other one has always been Lost. Like whichever. Like Lost is always my go-to. I've rewatched that show so many times it's kind of ridiculous at this point. All the way through, unlike Trevor, I'll watch like the entirety of it. Yeah, there's something about that show that's fantastic. And it used to be before you know, streaming kind of took over. It was kind of Arrested Development for a long time.
Oh,
I would just
nice,
rewatch
yeah.
episodes over and over again.
That's a good
It's
one.
fun
And you can
stuff.
almost randomize that one.
You don't have to watch them in order
Yeah.
after a while. Like once you
Absolutely.
figure it out, because you had to watch it in order the first time through to get the buildup of the jokes, because they build on top of
Oh
each
my
other.
God,
That's the whole
don't
point,
they?
Right? But once you do,
won't
you
get
can
a
rewatch
joke
it whenever you
until
want.
3 seasons later. It's
Exactly.
amazing.
So yeah, you have to kind of watch it in order first. But once you do, yeah, I'll watch, you know, any episode at any time. So
It's an illusion, Michael. Tricks are for whores.
that's right.
How much could a banana possibly cost, Michael?
The money is in the banana stand.
It's not a swivel chair.
There's always money
Anyways.
on the banana stand. Oh my God, good stuff. For myself, TV, I always find myself revisit. I mean, and I love older TV shows. Like I watched all of Cheers recently. I watched all of Frasier recently. I've
Right.
tried Wings. I didn't finish
Oh my
Wings.
God, Wings!
Yeah,
Wow.
dude. Isn't that wild?
I love that show.
Um,
I haven't watched it since. I probably won't like it anymore, but I used to
Yeah,
like it.
so like I love going back and rewatching all these older shows. But one that's not that old, at least I could say it's not that old, but it's
Times
kind of
are
old
illusion.
now. Is How I Met Your Mother. I find myself except for my last rewatch. I did the last rewatch fairly recently, and I was like, oh no, there is a lot you can't do anymore that's in this show. Like back in the day, it was like
dated now.
charming and fun, and oh, this is silly. Now it's like, oh, this is very problematic. But I'm like, I don't know why. But you watch Friends, and it's the same thing. Friends is very problematic as well. That's
You
why
can watch
there's
any show, really.
any show from the 80s and 90s, and there's going to be a lot of problems. Yeah, times have definitely
But
changed.
I can see that being a good cover show. That was a cover show for me for a while.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I'm one of these people that I got to start. I can't just like random episode. I think the only random episode show I could really do is like Modern Family, where I just don't care what the storyline is.
I was
I'm
thinking
like,
more Simpsons for me. Like I can
So,
put on any.
that
when
would
you
make
said
sense,
random
too.
episode, I was like, there's another show that I do watch all the time, and it's The Simpsons.
Yeah, I can put that
So-
on anytime.
No,
Anytime.
but there's some episodes of The
episode.
Simpsons that I've watched more like than anything else. Like Treehouse Horror episode where they take off The Shining. I mean, I've probably seen that
All the
episode.
time.
I don't know how many times, probably at least every year since it came out. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good comfort show. That's
Yeah,
why it's been
that
on
one-
for so long. You know.
I watched a recent episode. Like I just put one on, and I was like, "This isn't as bad as people try to make out current Simpsons are." I was like, "This is actually pretty good."
Nice. Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while. I've heard that they've had a bit of a renaissance though within the last few seasons. So that's been kind of good to hear. So I think they were kind of stuck for a while, like only doing like celebrity cameos every week, and it was just that, which like that gets annoying after a while. So it's good to hear that they're kind of back in form.
Yeah, the episode
Lately.
was about Carl, and I'm like, they're doing an
nice.
entire episode about Carl. It was pretty. It was pretty good.
Nice. All right. Good to
Keep
catch
up
back
with the
up with
times,
those guys.
man.
Yeah,
All right, fellas.
I like that.
Now, this next one is all about video games, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't really play a whole lot of video games anymore. But
kind
I
of hard when
do.
you work a lot and have a family.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, for sure. But there are video games that I will talk about. But if you guys want to start off on this one, because I'm sure you've got a little bit more than I do.
So if we're talking comfort, right? Like, honestly, true comfort right now has just been Fortnite because it's just one that you don't have to think about. If I don't have to think about the storyline, if I don't have to think about like, you know, what challenge or thing I have to do next or what boss to fight, like I can just hop in a game and it's random and it's familiar. And it's
Yeah.
easy. I can do whatever I want. If I want to go hard in the paint, I can. If I want to just relax and meme about, I can do that.
That's a good one.
I've not been a fan of Fortnite lately. It's just not as fun as it used to be, unfortunately. But it's familiar to me, so it's comforting. It's like at the end of a stressful day, it's like I don't want to have to fight the same this dungeon boss that's killing me over and over again in Elden Ring, which is a great game, by the way. And Rage. No, I'm just gonna go, meme about on the island and drive boats on land and blow up buildings and have fun. But I think over time, it's always been Zelda. It's always been kind of the comfort, and Mario, I guess. Those two. I think it's a combination of the music and the games. I think Mario probably is a little bit easier to get into because it's not quite as quest based. It's more like an adventure. Like you get to the end of each level kind of thing. Real simple to get into. So
Nice.
I like those. Are kind of my comfort ones. But it used to be the Candy Crush Saga games.
Oh no!
But I stopped that. One day I just quit cold turkey and I haven't been back since. So that was about a year or two ago.
That's like giving up the addiction of smoking cigarettes, right there, huh?
Exactly. I just went cold turkey.
Does our good buddy Sully still play? I know that he's at level 120,000.
Some people kind of came back to it. I think it all depends on what IP was bought out, right? Like recently they bought out a whole bunch of anime, so there's a lot of anime skins, anime weapons, and events and stuff in the game. So yeah, they're gonna come on in. I think last week was Futurama, so that was a lot of fun. I got to hire Bender, and he kind of hops in the back of whatever vehicle you're riding and like makes quips about different things. So
Vehicle you're riding.
Yeah,
So
so you're riding like
Prog's
you can ride
talking
a whole bunch
about
of stuff.
Fortnite, not
You
Candy
jumped back
Crush.
to Fortnite after we were talking about Candy Crush. I was like, "What is going on?"
Well, I've been talking about Fortnite the whole time. Yeah.
You said Candy Crush, and I. Anyways,
Oh no, I
whatever.
moved on to Fortnite. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I do like the weekly IP crossovers in Candy Crush.
With
Yeah,
Candy
right.
Crush.
I was like, they did Barbie at the start of July, but that's the only one I can think of.
Sad, I miss Barbie. Darn.
I will say, if it wasn't for Fortnite, this podcast would not exist.
See, comfort.
So, comfort.
You're my comfort.
Comfort for us all.
Exactly.
Trevor, did you want to go next?
I'm in a relatively unique position regarding most people on Earth, but
Oh, yeah,
I get to play games for work, so it is difficult to be like,
This
you know what?
guy.
I'm done playing
Right.
games, so what I'm going to do is play games. It's
Play
a very
games.
difficult thing to do.
Totally.
But what is your
with-
comfort? For not
With
working,
that
right?
said, the comfort video game, it's usually that cozy, comfortable Animal Crossing type of thing. And so
Okay.
I don't want to plug things that I do for work, but there's a new Animal Crossing inspired game that has my full attention right now. And I really love playing that game on iOS and just any kind of
Just
mobile
tell us off
games.
screen. Okay.
Yeah, no, mobile games, there's certain games where you play for work and there's certain games it's like you just have your phone with you. It's so much easier than, oh, I'm going to start up the PS5 and, oh, it needs an update. Oh, it's been 2 hours since I wanted to play games and I can finally play games. It's a difficult thing to do versus, hey, I touched the little button and now I'm playing all of a sudden. So it's easy to get into mobile games really quick, but for like super nostalgia sakes, I'm wearing the Mario hat for a reason. Super Mario 64, I've gotten all 120 stars. I don't know how many times at this point. That's like when you talked about a comfort thing when you're feeling down or you're just like, I don't want to watch anything. I'm going to go play Super Mario 64. There's just the most comfort I've ever experienced in any kind of form of entertainment where I'm going to go rescue the chain chomp and smash down the little wood stake on the first level. Like, I just want to go and do that. Or I want to go and, get one of the Koopa shells and just surf around through the sand level or in the first level or find the Koopa shell in any level and I can just go and ride that for like 10 minutes straight. Like, I'm not even doing anything. I don't care where the star is. I'm just listening to the music, zoning out, and
that's good
that'll
stuff.
be my favorite probably form of entertainment for my entire life. But I do want to give a shout out to the Mario movie. I watched it 3 times in the theater.
Look
And
at this guy, Trevor. Look at this guy.
He's a new guy. If you've been listening for a while, you know that this is a rare thing.
it's the influence that
breakthrough.
Michelle
It's
has.
fantastic.
I'll shout out to Michelle.
Oh,
Nice.
Jeez, Michelle.
She's good people, man. Good
Three
people.
times in the theater. Okay. I'm happy to hear that. I really am.
Well, after listening to all that, I actually all of a sudden all these different games started popping into my head. So one of the one that's on the top of my head right now that probably I've played most recently. Well, okay, except for Asteroids. I've been playing a lot of Asteroids lately, and it's because I want to keep beating my high score. I've got an arcade cabinet in my office, and for some reason Asteroids has got my attention. But that's not really my comfort. That's more on the lines of just trying to beat my high score. But Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. There's something.
This is a good callback. All right,
dude. There's
we
something
talk about this all the time.
comforting about that game. I love sailing on the seas. I love listening to the sea shanties. I love taking out forts and then running around the forts. It amazes me because I haven't played like all these other games like the giant open worlds, for instance, like what is it,
like
Grand Theft Auto, like Grand Theft Auto more 5 or whatever. Because last I heard that map is enormous.
It's massive. Yeah.
Right. The biggest map I've been on is on Black Flag, and that right there is huge enough for me. And I'm like, it's just kind of comforting knowing that if I need to, I could just jump in the ship and go to another city, a different part of the Caribbean, something like that. I really love it. But
that makes
going
sense
back
for you.
Yeah, going back even farther than that is like Star Fox. I could play Star Fox 64 any time of day. I've got my N64 behind me, and I could throw Star Fox on and I could just zone out forever.
Yeah, I did that for many years. Played Star Fox every day. After school, my buddies and I would just go to one of their houses and play that.
And then the not the co-op, but the when you could play against each other and try and beat.
Oh yeah,
that was so much fun.
Dude, Rage. Oh man, I broke his controller so many times.
And then on my Game Boy, so I've got an original Game Boy, and for some reason, there's a game on my original Game Boy that I find myself always coming back to, and it's Final Fantasy Adventure. It's one of the first Final Fantasy games that ever came out, and I absolutely adore that game. The story is great. There's parts in it that gets me kind of welled up and teared up. I'm like, my God, this is amazing.
It's a good entry in the series, yeah.
It really is. And honestly, I don't really want to play any other Final Fantasy because I love that one so much. Wow.
Careful.
Wow.
He was fed up.
But it's so funny, like, and then I was thinking before I was married, before I had kids, before all this stuff, do you got a toy you're playing with over there, man?
Fidgeting. He's fidgeting right now.
Fidget toy. My God.
Ooh.
I used to play, like, I lived in Daytona Beach, and I used to play Kelly Slater Pro Surfing on PS2. And I played, dude. I think I ruined my PS2 by playing that game so much. It was like, that was a true comfort game because the sound of the waves, the music that was playing, because it was like Kelly Slater, it was Jack Johnson type of music, so it was very comforting. It was something that, like, after a long day of work, putting that game on was like the most comforting. Anyways, I couldn't believe that I actually talked that much about video games.
No, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, when you're talking about video games like that, it makes me think of NFL Blitz. I don't know if I've ever played any game more.
So much. It's ridiculous. I've never raged so hard.
Oh God. I would hate everything. It'd be like the game is cheating. There's no other way possible that this is happening. This is literally
my little
cheating.
brother was cheating, even though he's 2 years younger than me. He must have been cheating.
Oh my God, NFL Blitz, dude.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I would love to get that arcade cabinet.
That was the one I was most intrigued by when I saw it. I was like, if any game,
dude, that or Turtles. They've got the 4-person Turtles.
Either one would be fantastic.
I would, yes.
In the house, because like what at my sister-in-law's her parents' house, they have their N64 there still from when they were kids. So every time I go over there with my nephews, that's the only game they have. So we play NFL Blitz every time.
That's awesome.
Still play it to this day, man. It's a great game. Still the best.
So fun.
Still the best. But thinking of that, I did when you were talking about your games, the one that came to my mind that I haven't played in a little while, but I did for a very long time, and it kind of became my comfort game. And I think it was more the soundtrack and the mood and the pace of the game was StarCraft. It's just one of those games you can just jump in and play against a computer if you wanted to. And it's just easy. You can pick a different faction every time. And it was just nice. It was nice to just sit there and kind of build your defenses and take your time building up your, whatever kind of, offense you want to play and strategically move around the map. And it was just like, kind of just zone out with that music and just like, oh, so nice to do that.
Computer games,
not think too much.
Wow.
I forgot that computer games exist.
I know, right?
There's a computer game that I don't want to know. Like Animal Crossing, it tells me how many hours I've played. I'm glad that computer games don't tell you, but Roller Coaster Tycoon. Dude, talk about a comfort game. There's like, I'm off from school an entire Saturday. Yeah. I could play Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yep.
The whole Saturday. Like, do one of those like little scenarios you're given and just go and make stupid roller coasters that go through tunnels underground and just, oh man. Oh my god.
100%. I loved Roller Coaster Tycoon. That and Sims Tower. Sims Tower and Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Just anything Sims. Like all that stuff is just fun to play.
Sim Town is the one that because it was simpler than Sim City. Like Sim City was a lot of like big like grid type of thing. Sim Town, you got to build like a little particular thing. Like I'm building this little tiny burger place. And then this guy would walk by and he has a little pet dog and the dog has a name and you can click on the information of him. So it was a little bit Sims, but you didn't have the full on control. And it was just a little more focused. Like I can't do the big city. I just want to be in this little tiny town.
I think that's what I liked about Sim Tower was you were focused on one tower, like just one building and just make sure that you keep that building going from restaurants to lobbies. Oh my god, I want to play these games now.
Wow, look at us. Bring back comfort games.
I mean, amazing. Also another comfort game, something I grew up with was BOEP, which is the Best of Windows Entertainment Pack from Windows 95. And it has a version of Tetris, which is probably my favorite version of Tetris ever, but they also have a game called Chips Challenge. It's like a little 2D adventure game where you play as this little guy and you have to use the directional pad, and so he can only move in the 4 directions, and you have to like dig through ground. You have to collect keys in each level to open up the locks, and there's 50 specific levels, and you have to like, I was the point I could replay that game a bunch and people would literally watch me play it. Like I remember because I would go to like a rec center and they'd have the little computer and just I'd know those levels down pat, and you can just have little crazy, like you dig through and then these monsters chase you and then you can get the monsters trapped. And that BOEP is outstanding because there's also Pipe Dream, which is like the Pipe Dream style game.
Another good one.
Yeah. And they also had Jezz Ball where they have the little balls that bounce around. By the way, I need to find BOEP for modern devices. Like,
please do. Bring
that 95 back, because those were just simple, pure gaming, not all the extra fluff and stuff.
Those were good time. They have really good soundtracks too.
All right, so we spent enough time in video games.
Did we?
Maybe
we grew up with video games. Video games really became popular when we were little.
No, that's true. Yeah. But I did want to just throw in just a little curveball on you guys. But do you have a comfort book? Is there a book that you... Okay, yes. I feel... Okay, both of you. Awesome. And it doesn't have to be the Bible, fellas.
All right.
Back to the drawing board.
Hold on. Give us a minute.
Nothing more comforting than the Bible, you know?
See, mine's going to be interesting.
Well, go for it.
It's not very happy. Yeah, but my comfort book is The Road by Cormac McCarthy, which is kind of an existentialist wasteland of a dark, depressing end of humanity. But it's so well written. Like the prose is so beautiful, and I constantly go back to that all the time. I just reread it all the time. I have the whole book like highlighted and underlined and everything. It's fantastic. It's just my comfort. It's just what I kind of enjoy about just like the whole thought process of like what it means to even exist. It's good stuff.
Wow, nice.
That's kind of my comfort book, I would say. Comfort book series would be The Dark Tower by Stephen King, which I've reread multiple times. All 7 books.
Bad,
1,000 pages each. It's fantastic.
bad movie from what I hear.
Yeah, don't watch the movie.
Well,
Wait for Mike
of
Flanagan's version.
yeah, speaking of 7 books and bad movie, there's one. So what's interesting is I don't think I've
I
ever
know what you're
reread
saying,
another
okay.
book besides this. But there's times in my life where I get into reading and then I fall out of reading. And
Okay.
I need to go to these books to just convince myself that I still enjoy
It's
reading.
going to be one of mine. I know.
And I mean, the Harry
One of my
Potter
comfort
books
books,
are
yeah.
outstanding. There's really
Yeah, they're my comfort books too.
just in terms of storytelling, people can rip them apart all they want, and that's totally fine. I'm not going to argue with that. But for me, it just gets me back into reading. Once I read those books, I then can go look for other books. But it's once you fall out of, because reading, it's a habit type of thing. You have to get into
Yes.
the form of it. You can't be like, I'm going to read a chapter today, just like I'm going to
And
put
then
on
come
a
back to
movie.
it. Nothing
Yeah, and I'll come back in 2 weeks or whatever. You have to get into the method of like, I'm going to be reading. Like I'm setting aside time every day I'm going to read. And those get me back into the habit of doing it.
That's a good point. I really like that. I like it for a long time. Those books were like I reread them multiple times over the last 2 decades. I guess it's been now, maybe even 3. I'm not too sure.
The first one came out in 98.
Yeah, so it's been a while, and I've definitely gone back to them multiple times. Obviously, since the movies came out, I kind of stopped, which is poor me.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe I need. To get
It's
back
just
in.
it's also a simplicity. Like I respect a lot that you read the road, but there's something where books made for kids, I don't have to, set aside like my full attention. You can
Right,
passively
makes
read it.
sense.
There can be noise in the background. It's just like I'm gonna kind of get through it.
Yeah, I like that. How about you, Alex?
Well, I'm not as well read as you guys, but no, and we're actually planning on listening or reading all of Harry Potter for when Addie gets to the right age. We're gonna start reading Harry Potter, and that's gonna be
So
something
next week.
really-
Perfect.
Oh
All
my,
right.
dude, she turns 3 on Tuesday.
Exactly. Perfect age.
Oh my god. No, my return book that honestly I do keep coming back to it. This is probably going to be an easy guess for anybody who knows me. It's Ready Player One. Ah!
We know.
I love it. I love it. Okay, if you weren't watching on YouTube, both of them worded Ready Player One at the same exact time.
So easy. Come on.
I love I read Ready Player 2, didn't like it as much as Ready Player 1, went back to Ready Player 1 and just it's almost like once every 7 or 8 months I put Ready Player 1 on and just listen to it from start to finish. Like when I just need to take a break from podcasts, take a break from like listening to music or something like that, Ready Player 1 is the first thing that I jump into. There's other books, like I really enjoyed The Martian, really enjoyed Jurassic Park, but Ready Player 1 is just that book that I'm coming back to, man.
Ready
Yeah.
Player One nails the video game nostalgia we were talking to, like because it makes
It
the book
does.
itself as a quest, and then it's
Right.
built upon video game quests. And I would say the first like 30 or 40 pages, it's a slog. But once he like full on locks in, this is what we're doing. It's outstanding.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, absolutely. And I remember chapter 22 of the book is just phenomenal to me, but I don't know. I just I almost want to go and re-listen. I'm gonna listen to it again like next
Do
week
it.
or something. I just love it.
Get
Oh, it's
comfortable,
just so
Put on some
good, man.
PJs.
And it's an
Ready
easy
Player
get
One.
through.
Yeah, that's the whole comfort, easy.
Yes.
You can just sit
Easy,
and
right?
yeah.
16 hours, easy to get through.
I just love page flipping type of books for comfort, where it's not like,
Mm-hmm.
what did I? It's like, oh, what did I just read? Let me reread that paragraph. What are they trying to say? It's like, let's flow.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
go from
different.
page to
That's
page.
not-
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when you're reading a book and you're reading it right before bed and you feel like you just don't want to stop, that's when you know you've got something special like that. And that's where kind of what I had with that is I never wanted to stop. I just wanted to keep flipping those pages.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So that's like I said, it's a comfort thing. I come back to it all the time. Love it.
Nice.
So there we go.
Good stuff.
This was
Well,
a
hopefully
really
everyone
fun
knows this better.
episode. I mean,
was
like,
fun.
I really want to play Roller Coaster Tycoon right now, and I want to read the Harry Potter books.
Sims
And
Tower.
right? I was
Oh my
like,
God.
StarCraft.
Sims Tower right now.
Let's do it. to you guys in a few weeks and see how we do.
Get Kelly Slater Pro Surfing, man. I want to play it.
There you go.
We need to get that
That was
Blitz arcade machine.
Oh, it doesn't
One
fit
of
in my office. I'll have to get rid of all this stuff. This was a fun episode, though. I'm so glad we got to kind of like talk about comfort.
Fall's coming up.
I hope you guys felt comfortable at home listening to this.
I like the voice change.
Oh yeah. Hope you guys are nice and relaxed and sitting back and enjoying us talking.
That's right. I hope we all had a few laughs, maybe a tear or two. But you can always come back to us. We've got plenty of episodes.
This is Fresh Air signing off.
So everyone listening, we did hope you enjoyed, and be sure to follow us at Secondary Heroes on all forms of social media. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Prog out.
Adios, y'all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. This week, we're offering a reintroduction of what our comfort cozy pop culture is. Get to know us better by what do we go to in our free time to be like, what's we rely on. This shows Trevor. This is terrible. I don't know the intro. I don't know this topic or anything. Again, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. This week, we're talking about comfort and cozy games as a reintroduction to each of us. This is Josh Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey guys, it's Prog.
And this is Alexander Wolfgang. Cozy and comfort games? Games, movies,
Dang, I said
TV.
games.
You did. You said comfort.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary. I can't do it now.
You don't have you don't have to hit the swirls and stuff. You could just start, dude, because I'm gonna cut all this.
He'll edit it.
All right, can you say bye? Can you say good night?
Bye.
Good night. Okay, give me huggies and kissies.